202-224-3121. That's 202-224-3121. And tell them to keep investing in a clean energy future that fights climate change. Paid for by House Majority Forward.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
The following program, Collaboration Radio, is sponsored by Collaboration and, to the extent applicable, their guests. The views and opinions expressed therein do not necessarily reflect those of NewsWeb Radio Company or its management.
Studio today. Hey!
Hey.
And the one and only Nicholas Tremulis.
Hey there.
Here on Collaboration Radio. Welcome. We are here at the intersection of art, activism, and social change, which in Chicago is a Six Corners. And that was DJ Lady D, Collaboration's board president, laying down a little intro. And we're here on WCPT, 820 AM, Chicago's progressive talk radio. We're also streaming live on the Facebook and WCPT.com and YouTube. And you can get us in the very near future on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and everywhere else you get your digital stuff. I'm Anthony Mosley, Collaboration's artistic director, and we have a very special show, old friends. Now, we
long time friends.
Yeah.
You guys have been friends for a long time too, you know.
We have. Well, it's funny, Nick, because Sandra posted a photo of she and I from about, 25 years ago?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And all the comments on the Facebook are, oh my gosh, Sandra, you look exactly the same as you did back then. And the subtext.
That's very kind.
The subtext. Well, and you look the same too, mister.
You do, Nick.
You too.
Come on.
You two you guys are sleeping in an ice chamber or something.
Yeah.
But me, I'm a method actor, and I'm currently playing the role. Oh yeah, show Nick of an artistic director.
Oh, you still look the same, man.
I do. My mom told me that I look in that photo like a young.
Oh dear.
Jeff Bridges.
To me, you've always looked a little like Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Chevy Chase, Alec Baldwin, Jeff Bridges, the guy from Sex and the City. What's his name?
Oh yeah. Whatever his name is. Jeff Corbett. Whatever.
Jeff Corbett. Yeah.
I don't know. We don't know what
well,
his
let me
name
tell you
is.
something. If you see one of those cats walking in the airport or at some paparazzi hangout in L.A., do me a favor. Go up to him and say, "Hey, Alec Baldwin, did anybody ever tell you you look like Anthony Mosley?"
That would be good.
And take a video of that and send it to me. Oh, we're having fun here. Nick Tremulis is in the studio, and this guy drips with music, coolness, rhythm, soul, heart. Folks like us, we may not have a lot of money, but we are wealthy in artistic collaborations, partnerships, and God, you're a zillion. You're like the Mark Zuckerberg of musical.
I ain't that, man.
Jazz.
Don't call me that.
Sorry, Steve Jobs.
Oh,
I mean Gandhi.
Boy.
I meant Gandhi.
That him I can take. He's all right.
But what a amazing Chicago career that you have built?
Well, it's all about, I think what an artist is supposed to be is not star thriving. You have to be part out there because you got to make money for the people you work with, the same way you do. You got to fill seats, but you got to be a secret weapon as well. And I've balanced that secret. I played on a lot of people's records, done horn arrangements for stuff, and done 40 film scores because I am that secret weapon. And that's part of being. I think Greeks are really good at being secret weapons. And I'm a fan of all the secret weapons out there. The Steve Gadds, the James Jamersons from the Motown records, and everything else. The people you don't know about that make all that stuff move right,
Well, it sure seems like there is a spot in the middle,
Oh, yeah.
Where being too high in the sky, you get burned by the sun or you turn into a weirdo.
Yeah.
Being too low, you can't see down the road too far.
There is definitely something in between. It's usually fueled with youthful anger, but it gets you there. Anger is a beautiful thing when you're an artist, as well as love and everything else,
So I started, and Carla Stillwell isn't here today. Frack, her cat, of the frickin' Frack cat couple in the Stillwell household is not doing well. So let's send some good vibes out and some purrs out to Frack.
Some meows. Meow, meow, meow.
Our daughter Stella does a great meow. Nick, I bet you could do a good meow. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're each going to do a meow. And Henry, you close your eyes, and you're going to say which meow is the best. And you're not going to know what order we go in, and you're definitely not going to know it's me. So who wants to go first?
Meow.
Meow.
I would say the first one was definitely the most ominous, encompassing. So I would, I'm partial to that one.
That's because I'm terrified of all cats. They're all nuts.
Yeah, but Nick's meow didn't even sound like a cat. It sounded like a cat, is like a jazz musician who hangs out.
Exactly. This is the content we want.
Isn't that what a cat? I guess I got the wrong kind of cat in your description.
But speaking of cats, you look, of course, do a little research before these radio shows and kind of just look at stuff and all the various versions of. There's 75 or 80 bios for Nicholas Tremulis on the internet.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Yes, and Nick and I met working on To Kill a Mockingbird.
That's right.
Collaboraction's production in 2001, I think.
It very well could have been, yeah.
Or two. And
no, it's 2001 because I wasn't drinking. That's when I quit drinking. So I remember that I was working and not drunk at the time, And I remember it by that. Oh yeah, I remember every minute of that.
Well, and it was the first One Book, One City, where the Chicago Public Library picks a book and everybody reads it. And
yeah.
Nick, I don't know if you know this, but Sandra is on the board of directors of the Chicago Public Library.
I sure am.
And look, you're so fancy now. Both of you guys. Yeah, you fancy people.
We are library people. And I used to really go to the library, when I was having my first quarter-life crisis in my early 20s, It was
yeah.
And now our daughter is a bit of a library nerd.
That's great.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been to one, actually.
They got drink water fountains. You should check it out sometime.
Okay. I've heard they're good. Yeah.
But that show was a big show in Collaboration's history and my personal growth as a young director. And Nick wrote the original score from it. And what was the name of the track Oh, wait, you also did a song for my film. And
I can't remember
it was
what
called,
it would
like,
be.
something about getting home. Oh, man. But I just remember the music. The best way I could describe the music for To Kill a Mockingbird was like new stuff that you felt like you knew your whole life.
Well, isn't that what it always is when you write music? Is the first thing you think, who am I plagiarizing? Because it sounds so familiar, and then you realize if you're plagiarizing anything, it's your soul, you know? And that's if you're, you know, not specifically plagiarizing, but you're being influenced by something from your youth. I've written "Oh Susanna" so many times in my life, I can't believe it.
Oh, yeah.
Because as a kid, I played it on the harmonica, right? Because you can play it on that. And then the words by Stephen Foster, which are amazing. "The sun so hot I froze to death," you know? That's that first sort of glimpse of Dylan-esque writing, you know?
We used to sing that in 5th grade, I think.
Now that you bring up your childhood, I'm so curious as to what is your first musical memory?
I've only been told this by my dad when he was still around. My parents wanted an adult. I didn't have too many kid things, and they were coming back from a movie that they took me to, which was The Pawnbroker, and I apparently was humming Quincy Jones' score.
Wow.
So that was the first thing. Now at 2.5, they took me to see Thelonious Monk, you know.
Incredible.
At which point I broke away from them, ran to the front of the stage and started spinning like Monk did, you know. I can't remember that.
Is this in Chicago?
Ravinia, that was Ravinia.
Ravinia.
Yeah. But they used to go to Mr. Kelly's. I mean, they were friends with Lenny Bruce.
Wow.
And that whole bunch. They saw Marlon Brando do Streetcar on stage, you know. So, I mean, they were hipsters. You know, I was just this weird little midget that they turned into a freak, you know. I mean, that's really it. You know, they wanted an adult, I swear. At least my dad did. He wanted somebody to stay up with him and watch Citizen Kane. And he would tell me why all the camera angles were revolutionary and you know, play me jazz until I cried. Because it sounded so weird to me at first. And then he taught me every standard so I could understand what was happening. And yeah, so my nursery rhymes were like Ellington, Thelonious Monk, Machito records, because he loved Latin music, because he said the piano players were killer. And so that was, you know, that was the beginning of all that for me.
Would you play us a little something so we could see how all that matured?
You want something romantic or something? What do you want from me? What do you want from me, man?
Man, I want you to play.
I feel like I'll play this.
Yes.
In these days of toil and strife, where you might as well pay to play, 'cause they're gonna grab it anyway. That's the way that it is today. What's the use in what I got when my life is a vacant lot? Lord above, tell me what to do. Find a man that I can stick it to. Genevieve is a boa constrictor. It's a 25-year romance. But the grip of the tax collector took the stage where she used to dance. Now her life is a shuttered doll, and she longs for the days before when a knife was sharp and true. Find a man that she can stick it to. In the days of the ancient pharaohs, odds are you'd be hauling rocks. In the days of the pistoleros, odds are you'd be in a box. 'Cause when life's got you by the stones and trouble sticking to your bones, honey, the best thing that you can do, find a man that you can stick it to. Ba-ba-ba-ba. Find me a man who can ring my bell, rising up from the gates of hell, a croupier with an easy tell, and the charm of an Orson Welles. Make him say what I want to say, and believe in what I want to be. Then it's time for the fricassee, when it sticks it to me. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-dum, ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-dum, ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-dum, ba-ba-da-da-da-dum, aha. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-dum, ba-ba-da-da-ba-ba-ba-bum, ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-dum, ba-ba-da-da-da-da-bum, ba-ba-ba, ba-ba-ba, ba-ba-ba-bum.
Yes.
There you go.
That was Nicholas Tremulis. We're here on WCPT 820 AM, Collaboraction Radio. And we're in with Sandra Delgado today.
We sure are.
First time we ever co-hosted
From the
show.
Sandra Delgado Experience, I might add.
That's
Great musical group, by the way. We should do a show together.
We
don't
should
you think?
do a show together.
Oh my God, that would be
hot.
We could tear Chicago a new one together, don't you think,
that would
Anthony?
Be fun.
I think so. I think so. And if you had a kind of a charming opening kind of comedy act, maybe something a little off center and a little sweaty. Nick, you got a show coming up.
Yes, I do.
At Space.
At the Space. I love Space,
In Evanston.
Yeah, I was one of the first artists that ever played at Space.
Wow.
And they had a different thing. They were trying the same things I was trying. I was doing a subscriptionary 1-year song a week thing called 52 Reasons. They were doing a subscriptory like thing for their original idea was that. And so we just hit it off, me and Craig. Craig has since bought the Promontory, has bought Thalia Hall, and owns the Salt Shed now. So he knows how to run a club, and he gets the best booking agents. They're just the best, and best backstage.
So that's Wednesday night, November,
this
the day
Wednesday,
before Thanksgiving.
Right? Yeah.
Pre-tryptophan show. It's what we like to call it. It's before you get that turkey in you and want to lie in your face for the rest of the weekend. We'll be playing, right?
And that's like historically the night when all the college kids come back to their hometown.
It's true.
And hoot it up with all their old high school friends. I bet they won't be at Space on Wednesday, but they might. But we will be there.
We will be there.
You better be. Yeah, man. I've got a lot of good friends like you. Some dignitaries like yourself.
And I just want to make sure I get it on the record that I'm allowed to kind of dance and hoot and holler and make a spectacle of myself.
You can. This is, I argued with them about that, just basically, I know you got seats and all that, but I make music for the bottom end as much as the top,
We saw...
Maybe more so, right?
Mm-hmm.
We saw Kahil Elzabar there.
Beautiful.
And we were up on the side of the room, like along the wall. We were doing the wall.
He's my partner. I will not make a record without Kahil on it, and he feels the same way about me,
Well, you're both super freaks touched by some alien force. I don't know how it happened. I don't know why you're not giving me any of the good stuff, but it has I have caught a little secondhand alien talent.
Oh yeah. Well, no, man. I mean, that's the way it's got to be, right?
It is.
People don't. You can teach a lot of people stuff, but we have to respect the striking of lightning in our business. Mm-hmm. Some people get struck. And we can learn from those people, you know?
Yeah. But there's talent, and then there's masters.
Yeah.
And you get to a point where someone like you and Cahill, you know, it's like you touch the thing and it kind of sounds like it's meant to be touched.
We can do that. Cahill and I have our biggest comparison that we can make of each other is we were both dyslexic, and that kind of gears ourselves to making our ears super big and our vision super lousy in a way, you know, like, because we always mess up letters and stuff. Like I gotta, if I write something, and I love to write, I have to check it about 22 times, you know, because I switch things around all the time. And he's that way with numbers, and we both know that about each other.
I'm so fascinated by process. And I know we have a lot of artists that listen to the radio show. And I'm just wondering, like, what have you noticed about your process perhaps changing over the years? Like, what have you learned about yourself as you're creating stuff? What's become easier? What's become harder?
You know, I always like to make it harder. I'm weird that way. Once I feel like I've mastered a certain way of writing, I throw it away and I start another way. It's really just, there's two things. Part of it is just that, you know, my friend Peter Himmelman is a great songwriter, and he teaches creativity to, like, corporate people sometimes. He comes in, and he says that there's a little voice inside us that's always judging us. And he says, let's call him Norm. And he says, the first thing you got to do is kill Norm. You know, you really got to just get what's in you out of you first. You know, whether it's cliched or whatever, but starting to learn to your inner voice that's going on. And the other thing is you just gotta, you've got to be able to accept and love loneliness. You know, you have to really do that. It's not a party to write a song or write a book or write a play. It's no party. It's you alone with yourself. The other thing is the word innovation is about, the big part of that word is in. If you go in, keep going in, go deeper and deeper. And if you can harness that thing way inside of yourself and put it to lyric, for example, everyone's going to feel like you wrote it for them.
Oh, wow.
So we try to say the things we can't say. Photographers should try to photograph the things that people will never see, moments they'll never see. And that's it, you know, is to give a voice to something that we can't put into words. The beat poets used to call it writing the unwritable.
You remind me of something our friend Dr. Marcus Robinson shared about the meaning of the word intimacy. Into me you see.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that.
Which is also, you know, like you said about innovation, and it's so important to not just go inside, but to forgive yourself while you're there and fall in love with who you've become. There'll never be a better you than you right now. And I do think we spend a lot of time beating ourselves up in this world, especially young people, and comparing ourselves to other people.
Oh, sure. But I got to tell you, if you're going to beat yourself up, write about beating yourself up.
Get something out of it.
I mean, I have plenty of regrets, and they make it into my songs. And I understand them from that, and that's why we write bridges in songs, so that we can rise a little further above ourselves and explain it to the world, you know?
Talk to us a little bit about the power of music as an agent of social change.
There are times when it's more obvious because of certain catalysts. I'm talking about the late 60s where it was very focused, where every rock band playing was trying to write A Love Supreme by John Coltrane. You can hear it in Whipping Post. You can hear it in so many songs. They're all trying to catch that same fire. Having said that, we are a pop culture society, and pop culture was more focused and a bit more interestingly focused at the time. It is much harder now, especially for music, to affect social change to some extent. But comedians do it really well. Film does it really well. And we still try to do that. I think now in music, because our persona is so much a part of our sale anymore, we don't just listen with our eyes closed anymore. We're always looking, and we have to kind of live it, you know? If I want to tell people that we should all get along, I should have a group that looks like it all gets along, you know? I dress to confound. I'm braiding my beard tomorrow. I don't want anybody to know who I am or where I'm from, because I don't believe I'm from or who I don't believe I am anyone. And I don't believe anyone's anyone. You know, I'm a Sun Ra type. When you were talking about the alien, I totally understood why Sun Ra said he was from Mars, because he couldn't possibly be from this Earth, you know? But I dress to confound. I speak to confound. You know, I ain't got the answers, but I can sure mess you up good. And I love that about myself, you know?
Teach us a little bit about Curtis Mayfield.
Oh, my God. Well,
Professor Nick.
First off, you got to talk about the impressions. People get ready. There's a train coming. I'm a Fool for You, which you should hear because it's the craziest 6/8 time signature you've ever heard on a song. I was lucky as a kid because my cousin was doing session work at his label, Kurtom, for artists that he would bring in, singers and stuff like that. So my parents had willed me to my cousin because I'd become too much, just too much. And so I can remember I probably had just gotten out of a very long court case and went to the Audi home, which was a place for troubled boys, but I was only there for a week. It was kind of a scared straight thing, which was probably only done to Whitey. But at any rate, I went to go stay with my cousin Dino and went to a session.
Dino.
And Curtis was in the control room, and I walked in and, of course, was in awe of Curtis because my old man used to take me to movies at the Woods, and because my cousin was doing session work for Curtis, we had seen Superfly, and so I thought, wow, you know. Because at the time, too, you never thought anybody famous lived in Chicago. Nothing famous could possibly happen here, you know, except maybe, you know, Hershey's Candies or something. But and that's not even from here. But at any rate, so I go into the session with him, and I'm just starting to play guitar. And so Curtis says, "Who's this?" And he goes, "This is my nephew, Nicky," you know, and blah, blah, blah. And he goes, "What, do you play an instrument, young man?" And I go, "I play guitar a little bit." You know, I'm like, whoa. He goes, "Why don't you go pick up my guitar over there and play a little?" Now, Curtis tuned his guitar to the chords of his songs. He was very unorthodox in that way. He would just hear a chord he liked, would tune it, and bar that chord, you know. So here I was playing my little cowboy chords and bar chords, trying to sound good. And he said, "Well, that doesn't sound right." You know, he was messing with me. And so finally I went like this, and I looked up at him, and he said, and he was laughing, and he said, "I tune it my own special way." So then I grabbed the guitar after he said that, and I played the opening chords to The Pusher Man from that soundtrack.
Wow.
And he grabbed me and showed me to the room and said, "This is my little N right here." And I had never been called that yet. And my cousin said, "That means he likes you." But you can't say enough about that unbelievable band, Lucky Scott on bass, Master Henry Gibson on percussion, that mashup of all the neighborhoods in Chicago coming at you like a freight train. I mean, he's still my, you know, he's still my guide in a lot of ways, right?
And what about the staples?
Oh, well, you can't, you know, I mean, I know a lot of cats that recorded up at their studio at 103rd Street. Meeting Mavis was great. Having her on a Walsh show, which you saw actually, was great. Having her call me daddy in the middle of the song was strange because I wasn't hers, but you know, she's used to doing that. But I had done a benefit with her before that, and She bought everyone in the bar a beer. And I just thought this is the coolest lady I ever met, you know. And I can remember as a little kid watching her on Sullivan and all those, because I'm such an old guy. And me and my mom, who was a blues singer, waiting for Mavis to explode. As she would do that, thing, you know, we'd just fall out every time. So she was great, you know. Soul Train, being in Chicago first, black and white on UHF, seeing that, which is so funny because Kurt Farquhar did the film score work to a TV show called Sold American, which was Don Cornelius's story. And he said, listen, I've got from 1967 to 1972, and I need somebody to play Chicago guitar, and you're just going to be the guy that plays on this whole bunch of first episodes. So I'm the guitar on all his, you know, because he knows I know that stuff, you know, because I worshipped it.
Our friend June Moon was the drummer for the Staple Singers.
All right.
And his fiancée is Leanne Trotter of NBC Chicago.
Isn't that something?
And Leanne is the one that first brought Collaboration into the missing trial transcript of the state of Mississippi.
Isn't that something?
Versus the guys who killed, kidnapped, tortured, and killed, lied about it. And
it's a disgusting story, but what a bold mother.
Yeah.
Know? And speaking of Kahil El-Zabar, as a kid, he was
Yes.
told to shovel the walk next door of this older lady, and it was Emmett Till's mom.
Wow.
He shoveled that kid's walk every winter.
Yeah.
You know, because Emmett wasn't there.
She was, you know,
Nice.
we won our second Emmy Award last week for working with NBC on the lost story of Emmett Till. Willie Round and Gary Mills adapted the missing trial transcript, and I co-directed it with Dana Anderson. We shot it in one day at NBC, and now it's on the Peacock. And we also have a play. And you know, as I really got to go deep and really learn about, you know, Mamie's journey, you know, she maybe more than any American changed the direction of our country and our world. And everybody says, oh, she was so courageous, you know, she was so brave, she was so strong. She was a genius. She understood the power of media in the worst times of her life. She was able to somehow command a strategy that saved us all.
Yeah.
From a different multiverse in which we are 100 years behind.
Oh, man, and maybe always will be. That's what drives me crazy about the human experience, you know? We need such tragedy to change things.
Well,
and then some things don't seem like a tragedy, like a bunch of kids getting shot at Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
You know? I don't get which tragedy is supposed to be more important, but again, maybe a more focused time at that time. Everybody's got a kid.
Well, and it's just... And
do we have to parade the dead bodies of the Sandy Hook kids? You know, put them on the cover of a Life magazine to make people change? I don't want to do that.
Well, and here in Chicago, we have a 400-year slow dripping genocide. You know, we have a mass shooting every weekend in Chicago.
I know.
And yet Chicago's not, per capita, not nearly as violent as a lot of our neighboring cities.
I think so.
And
I'm a train rider, and I love it. You know, I do it all times at night.
And look at all the great art that has come out of the city.
Yeah,
very much correlated to the oppression.
Oh yeah.
It's you know, we're such an American city, and I do believe, in many ways, the country teeters and favors the direction of Chicago. What's happening in Chicago happens throughout the Midwest. You know, New York and L.A. and Miami and San Francisco, there are major outliers, but the heart of the people and the families and the working class, and I think that's why, you know, we're so, the three of us are all
Still here.
As our friend Tony Fitzpatrick said, Chicago gets in your bones and ruins you for any other city.
It really does.
So Henry, if you're not gonna stay here until you're 600 months old or so, you better get out tomorrow.
But you might come back.
Yeah.
I always come back.
Thank God. We're here live on WCPT 820 AM. If you are driving in your car or fiddling with something in your basement, you can call in and join the conversation here.
As long as it's not a dead body.
773-763.
Basement thing,
9278. Go ahead and call in, 773-763-9278. By the way, our friend Flaco Navaja has a show tonight with his band, the Razor Blades.
You met Flaco at Utopian Ball.
Man.
Mm-hmm.
Why I gotta play tonight?
He's every other Saturday at Brothers. It's called on Pulaski. So maybe we'll go surprise him. He's a wonderful front man and super talented poet. He was on the Deaf Poetry Jam.
Oh, okay.
His story is that he was on here 2 weeks ago with the amazing Melissa Dupre of the Humboldt Park Dupre's, and who was the MC of our gala, the Utopian Ball, Collaboration's gala last Saturday. It went really well. Thank you for asking, Henry. We ended up raising $200,000.
I watched it happen before my eyes.
It was wild.
We went from 83,000
by any
to
means
200.
I was just like, wow.
And we're gonna stretch that money. We're gonna make that money go a long way.
And we have a big
for
announcement.
Chicago.
We're meeting with an alderperson on Tuesday, and then hopefully Ink and Elise.
That's nice.
And we'll be making an announcement about a new brick and mortar
where I will be working at.
Yes.
I'm coming.
Nick, may we hear another song?
You want to?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You want? Yeah, I'm going to play something romantic.
Oh,
so if you don't
okay.
mind, I'm going to look at Anthony while we do this.
I'm not the jealous type.
No, it's just something for you lovers out there. As I look back on all the years, it seems that troubles followed us from town to town, mile for mile. It's been like this for many days, as if the candles of our love have burned away. Once there was passion's flame, now there is only bitter tears, a faded flower turning gray. So tell me lies, tell me that you are my beautiful one, and that when I am away, you nearly die 1,000 tears. Tell me lies, and I'll be your perfect slave. You know it wouldn't be so hard to tell me little lies, and maybe we'll believe again. It wasn't one thing that was said. Maybe the words we couldn't say have disappeared, lost by the hands of time. but take and never give. Sometimes when you are fast asleep, I sit and watch you, and I can't believe how beautiful you are. But I am so damn tired. And I'm so afraid to wake you up and find that you don't even care. So tell me lies that were truths when love was only a child. You would rush into my arms, and I would never let you go. Tell me lies, well, even only for one day. You know it wouldn't be so hard to tell me little lies. Maybe we'll believe again. You know it wouldn't be so hard to tell me little lies, and maybe we'll believe again.
You are a poet. Oh my goodness. That's one of my favorites.
It's nice. I played it for you guys because I've played it for you before.
I love that
But you know, I
song.
played their wedding, folks.
Yes,
I played at your wedding. I don't remember what I played, but I played.
Oh,
Yeah.
there's video of that somewhere.
Huh.
I also recall fondly all the sketchbooks that you played with us.
Oh, man, yeah.
You know, we'd have some house music DJ one night, and then we'd have some opera, a cappella opera group, and some rock band, and then Nick would come, and he would kind of like sneak out into the corners, and the show would end.
Yeah, I didn't want to be on a microphone, so I'd serenade. I'd walk up and down the thing. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was you and your guitar.
Yeah.
And what can folks expect on Wednesday at Space? It's not going to be just you and your guitar, which is gorgeous.
No, it's going to be me and 12 of my best friends.
Yes.
It's a big, beautiful group called Nicholas Tremulis and the Prodigals, and it's just, you know, this unbelievable. You know, the one good thing about sticking around is that you meet all these great musicians.
Yeah.
And then you meet the secret weapons, which is what I kind of talked about. And this is a bunch of secret weapons all playing together, you know. It's that kind of thing where, let's put it this way, we rehearse once.
I was just thinking, like, do you guys even need to rehearse?
We rehearse once. We look at each other and we rehearse once, and we just know it. And hopefully we'll sound good now. I've maybe jinxed everything.
Well, we had the pleasure of hearing you at the park. It was like this
Jefferson
amazing...
Park.
That's Lionel Rabb, the guy that does the Ed Patchke Arts Center. And we've been talking about doing a free show once a year because of that, you know, because it went really well. And it was fun for people.
It was magical.
Yeah. Plus, he's got that crazy sculpture.
How cool is it that that you got to hang out with Ed Patchke?
You know what? It's so funny because there was Ed Patchke, there was Wesley Kimler, and there was Tony Fitzpatrick, and there was Kerry James Marshall. And I was playing for those guys because I played their opening. And I got to tell you, every one of those guys is really interesting, but the two nicest were Ed Patchke and Kerry James. And I just went, these are normal guys. What's going on here? Only because Wesley is so beautifully eccentric. And Tony is like, you know, a mob hitman that became an artist, you know. I mean, it's just like, you know, you feel like you're potentially about to get beat up at the same time he's being really nice to you, you know. But
and Ed was just such a chill, nice guy.
Oh, yeah.
For someone whose artwork was super freakishly wonderful and bizarre, and just like he was also touched by the aliens.
Oh, it's so weird when you look at those paintings now, but I feel like that, well, we internet folk are so spoiled with color now.
Yeah.
You can't imagine what it was like to walk up to an Ed Patchke painting back in the day and go, what is happening to my eyes? The
vibration.
I was just, so, and that still happens to me because I'm an innocent child when it comes to art, and I like to be, always approach things with wonder, like Socrates.
Okay,
right?
we're gonna do something fun here. We're gonna do a rapid response. Sandra and I are going to lob questions at you in rapid fire, back and forth. And just say the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Favorite Italian beef in Chicago?
I like, Roma's.
Where's
Roma's,
that?
Where is Roma's?
Is that like Adams?
Cicero.
Ooh. What is your favorite song to play right now?
The one that's always given me the most trouble. That's the best way to put it. Some of the new stuff, I'm starting on a new record, and we're going to do 2 of them that night. One, I can't say the title of because it's not FCC happening. And then the other is called Sweet Chariot. So it's always the ones that, you just wrote and stuff like that, right? It's got to be.
Spider-Man or Batman?
I'm going to go with Spider-Man because he's more of a smart aleck, and I'm just so tired of the Batmen at this point. These brooding guys that are, have more money than God,
brooding guys with butlers,
going out with supermodels, and their life is so tortured. And
it was all the car and the suit, and
I'm just done with all that at this point.
Ooh, I want to hear about the last good hug you had. Memorable hug.
God, there have been so many good ones.
Nick's a hugger. We're huggers too.
Yeah.
It's a tribe.
It's gonna be good.
I'll tell you what. I made a video from my piano album. And in the middle of it, I hugged my family. What's the name? It's called Rain for Jane is the song. I cut it during the pandemic. And it's the last time I hugged my son. That's my hug.
Apple pie or vanilla ice cream?
I'm going to go with the pie.
Oh man. Silk or denim?
Silk. Silk. Always silk. I haven't worn a pair of jeans in 5 years. I don't believe in blue jeans,
I feel like jeans have gone out of style. Everybody finally realized that they're not really comfortable.
Well, right now I'm wearing...
Are you wearing jeans, Henry? No, okay.
I'm wearing Taiwanese fishing pants right now, and they're very comfortable. Those Taiwanese fishermen know how to have a nice time downstairs,
The Beatles or the Rolling Stones?
Oh, the Beatles. I play with Keith Richards, and we're friends.
Ooh.
And Ronnie Wood and I are buddies, and we've all jammed, and we've recorded together. And if this generation, if Justin Bieber, let's go a little bit earlier, decided that he was going to teach you all about music for the next 8 years, including Indian music, including Jimi Hendrix, including Steer You to Bob Dylan, including all these things, including Break the Color Lines in the South. If a pop artist did that right now, I would follow them. I would drink their bathwater.
That Beatles studio series that Peter Jackson put together that came out during the pandemic.
You learn a lot, almost too much.
See, I loved it because I said I love process. I got so into it.
Well, the weird thing about it is that you realize that on pure musicianship, Paul McCartney was knocking him down like bowling pins at that point. He's so much more talented musically.
Well, and just his, he'd bring in his dreams into the studio.
Yeah.
The guy was fishing inside and filleting it.
You will notice, though, and I will tell you this, they get good at that record when they decide to go away from the cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's really what they needed to be on their own for a minute. Also, interesting, that the guy who's directing, who's talking like this the whole time, that's Orson Welles' illegitimate son.
Oh, wow.
Did you know that?
Wow.
No.
Yeah.
And the director of that film it ended up being Peter Jackson, but originally...
That's him. Who I'm talking about.
Oh, and he did the Rolling Stones
no,
live album.
No.
Right?
No.
Another question.
You're talking about the producer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of them. Yeah. Glenn Johns, the guy who kept wearing coats that you want to punch in the face afterwards.
So I don't,
that guy, he's awful.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Grateful Dead?
I've tried so hard.
Have you seen them live?
No. Maybe I should have done that, I've tried really hard to like the Grateful Dead, and I'm sure one day I will.
Or not.
But it's just never that. You know what? I had friends that but I will say this: I had friends that liked the band Rush when I was a kid, and I will never like that bucket of slop. I'm sorry, man. That stuff I get angry just when I was in high school, I would see a binder with 2112 on it, and I'd be walking by. I would kick that binder out of every kid's arms. I just could not handle them. But yeah, I can't.
I know this. I mean, I'm a Deadhead, and a lot of people I love and respect, it can't go there. And most of them, almost all of them, never. The live show is the thing,
Oh yeah, of course.
And
there have been a couple of things I like, but I'm all about the rhythm section, and I don't like their drummer. I just don't like their drummer. He just does not get me wiggling at all, and it's all about the drummer to me.
Yes, yeah. The drummer, yeah.
Mickey Hart is his name or something?
Yeah, Mickey Hart does like the global percussion.
Yeah.
And then Kreutzmann they have two drummers.
Yeah, what globe? Come on. I'm sorry.
Day or night.
Golden global percussion. I'm not. Don't get me started on them. It's too. I'll be brutal.
I figured it would be interesting if
you're watching me be brutal about this. I could see that your horns growing.
I knew you were. I figured you weren't going to be a Grateful Dead fan, but that's a hill I'll die on. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh man, I had a blast.
Thank you, Nick.
An hour goes fast when you're hanging out, huh?
Right.
Wednesday, November 22nd. Join us at the Space in Evanston.
Right.
For which will be a great way to start off your Thanksgiving with this Chicago music legend and
Nicholas Tremulis Orchestra.
Well, no, it's
Nicholas Tremulis and the Prodigals. Now I should go back to orchestra. There's an Irish band called the Prodigals. They're really pissed off. I said, you got a big Greek name in front of it. Relax, And
then Sandra Delgado Experience at Epiphany Center for the Arts, December 8th.
That's right.
I'll be there. Here, a little Chicago history, since we always do that. This is where Fred Hampton's service was, at the Epiphany.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And Kahil El-Zabar, we bring him up again, was a 19-year-old African drummer at the time who played his ceremony.
Wow. And he was killed not too far from Epiphany, actually, when sleeping.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Police shot up his home and killed him.
Murdered him in
the middle of the night.
Ugh.
What would have been
bullets.
the impact that Hampton had on our country, shortly after Mamie Till.
Yeah.
And his life cut too short. Did you know that Mamie was invited to speak at the in D.C. at that Million Man March that Dr. King gave
That's
his
crazy.
dream speech, and Mamie's mother felt like she was getting overexposed and it was too much on Mamie. So she never told her.
Yeah, her mom never told her
that she was
about
invited.
the invitation.
And that in many ways, like had she gone there, that would have propelled her. People didn't really know about Mamie Till for a long time. And actually, it was in the 80s that NBC did a special on the story of Emmett Till. But that's why it took so long for
that's amazing
for them to get a Medal of Honor. And Mamie's now on a U.S. postage stamp.
Amazing. Do you want to be on a postage stamp one day?
No.
Okay, I just thought I'd ask.
No. Do you?
Only if you're on it with me.
Aw, buddies.
Yeah, bromance.
This is Collaboraction Radio. We're sponsored by AV Chicago, Chicago's leading provider of AV production and event management services. Collaboraction is a 27-year-old nonprofit. Our mission is to build knowledge, empathy, dialogue, and action. And check us out at collaboraction.org or become a member for as little as $1 a month and get access and insights to all kinds of good stuff. We will be here. We have a special Thanksgiving show next week where we're going to be talking about colonizers. And we've been on air for 6 months now, Henry. Isn't that wild?
That's amazing.
Yeah, so we have lots of great shows. Go check them out at Spotify and have a nice Thanksgiving week. Thank you, Nick and Sandra.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Yeah. Happy to be here anytime, man.
The preceding program, Collaboraction Radio, is